Wow, that's such a cool idea to build. Why didn't I figure it out myself? Let's learn how to build Maizen mutants.
Round 1.
I want to build Mikey Mutant today, and I start from one front paw because a big creature needs a strong place to stand first. I use lime wool for most of the paw because lime is my main color, and it makes the mutant look like me right away. Then I use green wool to separate the claw area from the rest of the foot. That small color change is useful because claws should not melt into the leg. If the whole paw's one color, the shape gets muddy and hard to read. I keep the paw low and a little wide because a mutant body will be heavy later, and wide feet make a statue look more stable. Wool is a nice block for cartoon creatures because it keeps the color soft and simple. I do not want too much texture here. I just want the shape to be clear. After the first paw feels good, I start the outline of the torso above it with lime wool too. A body outline is like a map. If the outer shape is wrong, every other part will be wrong too. With the first front paw and the first body line in place, I move to the left side and build the second front paw the same way. I use lime wool again for the leg and green wool to mark the claws. Matching the second paw is very important. If one side is bigger, the mutant looks crooked, and then the whole statue feels unbalanced. I keep checking from the front to make sure both paws sit at the same height and point in the same direction. Symmetry helps a creature look strong, especially at the front where everyone looks first. After both paws are standing, I can already see the mutant pose better. The front now feels like a real animal stance, and not just random blocks on the ground. I leave enough space between the paws for the chest, because if the legs are too close, the body later will look cramped. If they are too far apart, the torso will look disconnected. This part is simple, but it matters a lot for the whole design. Now I go to the front and build my normal Mikey head on the mutant body. I start with a lime wool outline because that helps me control the size before I fill everything in. A good head shape is very important because if the head looks right, people understand the character much faster. On the face, I use black wool and red wool for the details. Black gives strong contrast for the eyes and face lines, and red is a good accent because small bright colors make a face look more alive. The rest of the head I fill with lime wool, so the whole thing stays connected to the body color. I keep the face big enough to read from far away because tiny details disappear on large statues. I also do not make the head too small. A mutant version should still feel a little cartoonish, and a larger head helps with that. From the front, the build now clearly looks like a giant twisted Mikey creature, and that is exactly what I want. After the face is done, I walk to the back and continue the torso outline. This is important because the body needs depth, not just a good front view. A lot of statues look nice from one side and then turn flat and boring when you walk around them. I use more lime wool and keep the body wide enough to support extra legs in the shell later. A mutant should feel heavier than the normal version, so the torso has to look broad and powerful. I round the back a little instead of making a flat wall. Curved shapes usually look more natural on animals and monsters because real bodies have mass in the middle. I keep checking the side profile too. If the back rises too sharply, the shell later will look awkward. If it stays too flat, the build will lose that turtle feeling. The torso outline now works like a frame, and I know where the shell, belly, and extra legs can go without breaking the shape. Now I start the extra legs on the right side. I build 2 more paws there, and I make them match the front style so the mutant still feels like one creature. More legs change the whole character, so I have to be careful with spacing. If I put them too close together, the side becomes messy. If I put them too far apart, the body looks stretched and weak. I use lime wool for the main parts again, and green wool for the claw sections, because repeated materials make the design feel organized. easy rule in building. When a creature has many limbs, block consistency stops it from looking random. I also keep the legs slightly smaller toward the back so the front remains the main focus. The body already feels more like a crawling mutant now. Extra limbs make it look faster and stranger, and that is good for a mutant build. On the right side, the 3-leg layout gives the statue a much wider and more beast-like silhouette. After the right side works, I go to the left and do the same thing there. I build 2 more legs using the same lime wool and green wool pattern, and I make sure the heights match the right side. Matching both sides matters even more now, because with many legs, mistakes become easier to notice. I keep checking from behind and from above so the spacing feels even. Extra legs should help the body look stable, not confused. I think of it like this. A heavy mutant needs many support points, so the legs should spread the weight along the torso. That makes the creature feel like it could really move. Even though it is only a statue, fake physics still help the design. If the support points make sense, the build looks stronger. Once all the legs are in, the mutant finally has a proper monster shape. It is not just a big head and shell idea anymore. It is a full crawling creature with a low body, many paws, and a much more dangerous feel than regular Mikey. With the legs finished, I start filling the tail area and the back of the body using lime wool. I close the empty spaces so the mutant feels solid and not like a hollow frame. This part matters because the shell needs a strong base, and the back half should look heavy enough to carry it. I keep the tail section lower and longer than the chest, because turtle-like creatures often feel more grounded in the back. A low back line also helps the shell stand out better when I add it. If the body rose too much, the shell would disappear into the shape. I make sure the back slopes nicely from the neck area toward the tail. Smooth slopes are useful in creature design because they guide the eye from one important part to another. Here, I want the eye to move from the face to the shell and then to the rear. Lime wool is still the main body block, so the shape stays easy to read and does not become too noisy. Now I add the best part, the shell. I build it on the back from black terracotta and brown wool. I like this mix because a shell should feel different from soft body skin. Black terracotta has a dry, earthy look, and brown wool softens the pattern a little. When 2 dark materials sit together, the shell gains texture without becoming too wild. I place the shell on top of the back where the highest mass is, because that is where a real turtle shell would protect the body best. Then I go under the mutant and fill the belly with lime wool so the lower side looks complete too. A statue should not only look good from the front and top, the underside matters when the creature has many legs. If the belly is empty, the whole mutant looks unfinished. Phew, it took so much effort. Great, my Mikey mutant is ready.
Hello?
Hey, Banana Kid, look, I built it. Do you like?
No.
What? Did I have to change my face for a complete makeover?
Oh.
You're right, that would be better. Maybe then you'll try to build the best Maizen mutants yourself?
Yay!
They ran to the place. This is where your building will be. Are you ready?
Yahoo!
Then go ahead.
Round 2.
He raises the lower torso carefully and keeps the corners sharp. Sharp corners are useful on cartoon mutants because they make the shape feel powerful and exaggerated. I can already tell he is not making a normal skinny character. The proportions are growing much wider than usual, and that gives the build a mutant feeling even before the head appears. Banana is not saying anything, but the block choice is telling the whole story. Above the lower torso, Banana starts the upper body outline, and this is where the mutant shape becomes really obvious. He makes the top part much wider than the lower torso, like a giant bodybuilder chest. That is a smart design trick. A broad upper body immediately makes a character feel stronger. It changes the silhouette in a very clear way. He keeps the bottom simple, then stretches the shoulders outward so the body looks powerful and heavy at the top. This kind of shape works well in statue design because the viewer can understand strength just from the outline. He uses cyan concrete on the sides and then later adds yellow on the front. That yellow front is a great idea because it keeps the chest tied to Banana Kid himself. The wide upper body also gives more room for the arms, which I know are going to be huge. I tell him he is making the strongest banana person in the world, and he just squeaks proudly. Now Banana fills the upper torso, using cyan on the outside and yellow on the front. The two-color layout is really helpful. Cyan works like the shirt or sleeve area, and yellow shows the center front where the character identity is strongest. In design, a bright central color can act like a focal point. It tells the eye where to look first. He keeps the yellow front broad, so the chest looks even bigger. I like that he does not use too many extra materials here. If he added too many textures, the big muscular torso would get messy. Concrete is smooth, and smooth blocks are great for superhero-like shapes because they make muscles and broad surfaces easier to read. He also keeps the upper body a bit forward compared to the legs, which makes the statue feel more active. A totally straight body can look stiff, but a small push forward gives it more energy. The mutant is now looking like a giant cartoon fighter with huge shoulders and a strong chest. With the body done, Banana goes up and builds his normal head. He uses yellow concrete for the main head and then black and red for the face details. That is a smart move, because even when the body becomes mutant, the normal head helps everyone understand who the statue is. Yellow concrete is perfect here because it is bright and clean, and Banana Kid should be easy to spot from far away. He places the black face details carefully so the expression stays readable. Black always helps on yellow because the contrast is strong. The red parts add just enough extra color to make the face more alive. A face on a mutant build is very important because if the body changes a lot, the head becomes the main clue. He keeps the head a bit smaller than the huge chest, and that works. Mutants often look stronger when the body outgrows the head. I joke that his giant chest is going to need its own zip code, and Banana makes a happy sound. Now Banana starts the right arm. He builds the top from cyan concrete like a giant sleeve, and then continues with yellow concrete for the arm itself. He makes it very long and thick, and the line is not perfectly straight. It has bumps and uneven parts, almost like huge muscles. That is a really good idea for a mutant. Real muscles are not just smooth sticks, and adding some unevenness helps the arm look stronger and more organic. He points the arm outward and keeps it broad all the way down. Thick arms are important on a body this wide because skinny arms would make the upper torso look silly. The cyan shoulder area also helps separate the arm from the chest. Separation matters on big figures. If the arm color is too close to the body, the shoulder disappears. I tell Banana that this arm looks like it could punch through a wall, and honestly, it really does. The mutant body is starting to feel complete now that one giant arm is in place. After the right arm works, Banana builds the left arm with the same cyan and yellow pattern. Again, he makes it long, wide, and bumpy, keeping that mutant muscle look. Matching the second arm is very important here, because the torso is already so wide that even a small mistake would show up quickly. He makes sure the shoulder height is the same, and that the arm thickness feels balanced with the right side. Symmetry is a big deal on superhero or mutant statues. If one arm is much thinner, the build looks weak on one side. By using the same color split, he also makes both arms connect naturally into the clothing design. The body now has huge shoulders, giant arms, a strong chest, and solid legs. I think this is one of the clearest ways to make a mutant version of a normal character. Just by changing the body proportions and making the arms big and uneven, Banana turns a simple figure into a monster hero without needing lots of extra details. At the very top, Banana adds a pile-like shape from yellow terracotta. It sits above the head like a strange mutant crown or extra hair shape. Yellow terracotta is a cool choice because it is close to the main head color but not exactly the same. That slight difference in texture makes the top detail visible without making it feel like a separate random object. I think he wants the top to look a bit rougher and more wild than the clean concrete face below, and terracotta is good for that because it has a softer, earthy look.
Ta-da! Yay!
Where did everyone run off to? Hey guys, what's all that noise?
Banana Kid and I are building Maizen Mutants JJ. Who did it better?
Oh, both of your buildings look great, but I think it's up to the audience to decide who did the best.
Yes, JJ, you're right. Maybe then you have comments on the construction of Banana Kid?
Yes, there are a couple of comments. Your Banana Kid mutant has such strange hands. Maybe you should at least add something to them.
I totally agree with you, JJ. Maybe you will build Maizen Mutants?
Okay, then let's run to the place as soon as possible.
JJ, good luck to you. We'll wait in the house.
But
Thanks guys, then I'm starting. Round 3. I begin my JJ mutant from the feet because footwear sets the scale of the whole statue. I build each shoe as a 2x2 shape using magenta concrete and white concrete. Magenta is an excellent accent because it is bright, stylish, and instantly different from the darker leg that will rise above it. White concrete helps break the shoe into readable sections, almost like a sole and upper part. On a large mutant character, the feet must be broad enough to support the body visually. If the shoes are too small, the figure looks like it will fall over. Keeping them at 2x2 gives me enough width without making them clumsy. I place the colors carefully so the footwear still feels like a designed object rather than a random block at the bottom. Clear shoes are especially useful on humanoid statues because the viewer uses them to understand stance and direction. With both shoe shapes established, the character already has a grounded base and a recognizable fashion-like detail. Above one shoe, I build a black concrete column to start the leg. I use black because the legs should read as long, thin, and severe. A mutant version of me can be more stretched and eerie than normal, so I want the proportions to feel unusual. After placing the first vertical line by hand, I use a command to generate a long, slender pant leg quickly and cleanly. Commands are very useful for repeated tall shapes because they keep the width exact and save time on vertical stacking. Thin legs like these need precision. If one side shifts by even one block, the whole body can look twisted later. The contrast between the broad shoes and the narrow leg is a strong design choice too. It makes the lower half feel dramatic and slightly unnatural, which fits a mutant build well. The first leg now gives me the exact height and line I want, and it sets the style for the second leg very clearly. To make the other leg match perfectly, I use commands again and copy the finished leg, then paste it beside the first one. This is one of the smartest ways to preserve symmetry in a build like this. Humanoid figures depend a lot on balanced lower support. If one leg is taller or thinner, the torso above can lose its center. By cloning the first leg, I guarantee the length, thickness, and position stay consistent. I check the spacing between them, so the body later will have enough room without looking too wide. Long, thin legs are an unusual choice, but they help this mutant look elegant and unsettling at the same time. The black concrete keeps the lower body visually simple, which is helpful because the torso and head will become more detailed later. With both legs standing, I already have a very strong silhouette. The narrow, dark columns rising from bright shoes create a look that feels stylish, stretched, and definitely not like a normal version of me. Now, I move upward and construct the torso from red and white concrete. I do not make it a plain box. Instead, I design it in 3-stepped sections, with each upper section sitting one block farther forward than the section below. This is a very effective way to create depth and attitude. A normal, flat torso can feel static, but a stepped forward chest gives the mutant a more aggressive lean. In building terms, layered offsets are a great trick for making simple blocks feel more sculpted. Red concrete gives energy and strength, while white concrete creates contrast and helps separate important parts of the outfit. I also build my laces right away from white and black concrete. Small details like laces are surprisingly useful. They make the lower half feel finished and tie the shoe colors into the rest of the design. The torso now feels like armor or a stylized jacket, and the 3-part structure makes the whole figure look like it is pressing forward with confidence. After the main torso shape is working, I refine those 3 sections so they connect naturally from the long legs below. Transitions matter a lot on mutant humanoids. If the torso simply appears on top of the legs, the body can look cut in half. I use the red and white concrete to keep the chest broad but layered, and I maintain the slight forward stepping effect. That forward movement helps the torso feel dynamic without needing a complicated pose. It also gives me better surfaces for the arms to attach later. Red is especially useful here because it draws the eye toward the center of the figure, and central focus is important when the limbs are very long. The torso now looks less like a human shirt and more like a creature body made of stacked plates. That is exactly the mutant feeling I want. It is still recognizable as JJ, but the proportions and shape language push it into something stranger and more dramatic than a normal statue. On the left side, I build a long, thin arm stretching forward. I use red concrete for the main sleeve area, black concrete for darker structure, and white terracotta at the end. This combination creates a very clear hierarchy. Red gives the arm visual energy, black strengthens the outline, and white terracotta softens the hand area. I make the arm much longer than a normal human arm because mutant builds work best when at least one body part breaks normal proportion. Stretching the arm forward also changes the whole pose. Instead of standing still, the figure now feels as if it is reaching or threatening something ahead. I keep the arm narrow so it matches the long, thin legs. Consistency in limb thickness is very important. If I suddenly made the arm thick, the body style would feel mixed. The white terracotta on the end works well because hands or fingers often need a different tone to stand apart from the sleeve. The left side now has a very strong, eerie gesture. I repeat that concept on the right side and create the second stretched arm. Again, I use red concrete, black concrete, and white terracotta, and I keep the arm long and thin. Symmetry matters in the basic length and material use, but I still pay attention to the exact angle. So the two arms frame the torso naturally. If they were too close together, they would block the body. If they were too wide, the build would lose focus. Long forward arms are a strong mutant design feature because they make the silhouette feel predatory and strange. They also pull the eye away from the standard human body plan. At this stage, the build already looks much more creature-like than human, even before the head is finished. The red arms echo the torso color, which helps them feel attached rather than added later. With both arms complete, the figure now has a very readable posture. Thin legs below, layered chest in the middle, and two extended limbs projecting its energy outward. Now, I start the head from the mouth, or more exactly, the lower jaw. Beginning with the jaw is a good strategy here because the mouth will be one of the most dramatic parts of this mutant. I use white terracotta for the main jaw shape and quartz stairs for the teeth. White terracotta gives a softer bone-like look, while quartz stairs are excellent for teeth because their angled shape makes the mouth look sharper without becoming too bulky. Inside the mouth, I use black chiseled bits. This is a very useful detail. Dark interior space creates depth, and depth is critical in a large open mouth. Without it, the jaw would look like a flat smile instead of a real opening. I shape the lower jaw first so I can control width and expression early. A mutant face should not feel plain. The mouth needs to suggest danger, speech, or even a strange grin. The lower jaw already gives the head a lot of character before the upper skull exists. After the lower jaw feels right, I build the upper jaw using the same material logic. I continue with white terracotta for the main shape and quartz stairs for the teeth, so both halves of the mouth belong together visually. Repeating the exact material palette is very important on a face because mismatched jaw colors would weaken the expression immediately. I set the upper jaw so it frames the dark mouth cavity properly and leaves the teeth visible without completely closing the opening. That balance matters. If the mouth is too open, the head can look broken. If it is too closed, the monster effect disappears. The black chiseled bits inside continue doing a lot of work by giving the face a real interior. This mouth-first method is useful in creature design because the jaws establish the emotion. Once the mouth feels right, all later face features can support that expression. Now the head already has a strong front profile, and the mutant identity is becoming much clearer. Above the jaws, I place the eyes. I use redstone blocks for the pupils and red chroma blocks for the outer eye area. This is an unusual but very effective color choice. The glowing red chroma gives the eyes an unnatural living energy, while the darker redstone pupils make the gaze feel focused and intense. Red on red can be risky if there is not enough contrast, but here, the material difference helps. The chroma blocks feel brighter and more alive, and the redstone blocks feel denser. Because the mouth is mostly white and black, these red eyes become the major focal point of the face. Eye color is one of the fastest ways to define mood. Purple might feel magical, green might feel toxic, but red almost always feels dangerous and powerful. I place the eyes carefully above the mouth with enough spacing to keep the head broad. A broad face often feels more imposing. With the jaws and eyes together, the head now looks like a true mutant and not just a stretched human. To frame the face, I build the hair from brown wool. Brown wool is a good choice because it adds a softer organic texture above the sharp concrete and terracotta face. Hair often works better in wool than in concrete because wool can feel fuller and less mechanical. I shape the hair so it sits over the forehead without covering the eyes because eyes are the main attention point and should remain clear. The brown tone also helps break the strong red and white contrast lower on the face. In large character statues, color balance matters a lot. If every upper block were white or red, the head could look too intense. Brown provides a calmer transition. I keep the hairstyle broad enough to match the width of the jaw, because a tiny hair cap on a wide face would look odd. The head now starts to feel complete. The face has a giant mouth, glowing red eyes, and a textured hair mass that gives it a more recognizable JJ identity even in mutant form. Finally, I fill the remaining head spaces with white terracotta. This step is very important because it unifies the mouth, eyes, and hair into one complete skull shape. White terracotta remains the best material for this because it keeps the face warm and slightly soft instead of looking clinical or metallic. I fill the cheeks, forehead spaces under the hair, and the side surfaces so the head looks solid from all angles. Large heads need complete side and rear planes, or they read like masks. I also check the profile carefully to make sure the jaws still project properly and the hair sits naturally above them. The result is a face that has a lot of contrast but still feels organized. The white terracotta acts like the calm middle layer between the dark mouth interior, the red eyes, and the brown hair. With the head closed, the statue is complete. My JJ Mutant now has bright shoes, stretch legs, a stepped red torso, long arms, a terrifying mouth, glowing red eyes, and strong hair framing the whole face. Great! My JJ Mutant is ready! It's time for me to show it to the guys!
What?
Wow, JJ! You've got such a creepy JJ Mutant. You've changed your shape more than any of us. What a horror!
Thank you guys. I am very glad that you liked my building. Friends, be sure to write in the comments whose building you liked the most. Well, I think it's time for us to finish.
Yes, JJ, you're right!
Subscribe and like. Bye-bye.